Ned, one of the things we talk a lot about on this show is the Giants have been reluctant to be sellers at the trade deadline. And, they're in contention quite a bit, but there's a few years where they were not in contention. Is that just a mindset? They always think that they can improve and make a run middle to late
Well, they
July.
compete. I've known that group for a long time. I'm sure some of the ownership has changed, but I understand the culture of the organization and really the leadership at the top, and they compete and they want to have a chance to win. And you never know what's going to happen. Baseball is an interesting sport. There's so much momentum that can switch in a course of a few days. At the same time, I think it's imperative that you have a really clear view of your team and know where it really is. And you can tell the media you're expecting big things. You can you're on the verge of really being a good team. You can even tell your ownership that a little bit. But at the end of the day, you really have to really be able to gauge your team in a consistent manner that isn't an exaggeration.
Right.
Because the toughest thing for most teams to do, most GMs, because of their compete level, is to trade off players, is to trade off big league players. Unless the contract is obscene and
Right.
and if the player's performance has really fallen. But then, not everybody's going to be coming looking for that player either. But in a typical situation where you're falling out of the race, perhaps, and you've got a player or two that there's a market for, if you're being realistic with your team and that team you don't think has a chance to get there or has a chance to win more than whatever it takes to get in, if they're going to get swept out or have a tough first round and be swept out, and if you've made the playoffs recently, you probably got to make that move. If it's important to make the playoffs because you haven't for a while, then maybe you sit tight. But by and large, the most important thing is to really, really know your team and not exaggerate it to the point that you don't have a chance to make your team better or give your team a great chance to be successful.
Yep.
I have another question here for you, Ned, and I guess we can officially say we're on Ohtani watch because there's possibilities. He may get dealt. Being Trout going down for a while, they may be out of it. Will has a great question here, and it kind of goes in line with what I'm saying. I've also heard this, as a matter of fact, over the weekend on what's his name? Jody Mack. I guess he had a guy on from NBC LA talking about, will the Angels possibly trade Ohtani? He thinks they'll trade him, but to the Dodgers, maybe not. I guess there's some kind of some history with Moreno and the Dodgers, so I don't know if he would trade him to the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are in a great position to trade for him and still be in a relatively pretty good position as far as prospects are concerned. Do you think that the Angels would actually pull a trade with the Dodgers, being that they're in the same market?
It might cost the Dodgers more than anybody else to acquire Ohtani. At the same time, why you probably don't want to help your rival. We have to remember that you're talking about two different leagues.
Right.
Okay. This isn't a Giant Dodger trade.
Right.
This isn't the Giants trading Ohtani to the Dodgers and the rivalry, and now you're bowing out of the race and you're giving the team that's been your rival for over a century in two different parts of the country, the greatest trade player traded. At the same time, I think, and I talked to Angel GMs when I was GMing the Dodgers. And if the trade made sense, both teams would do it. Because what you really have to do, again, you have to be clear and understand who your players are, who the players are you might be acquiring. And I think that you have to do what's best for the organization. If there's 4 really good offers out there, and one of them is got an extra player in it that's going to be a big league player and really can fill a need or two of yours, but it's your greatest rival, I don't pass on that.
Interesting.
Because your responsibility is to your organization,
Right.
to get your team as good as possible. So if you can get 3 A's and a B from the greatest rival, and everybody else is offering you an A, B, and a C, I think you're not doing due diligence, and you're almost delinquent in your work. If I'll take A, B, and C. I'm not going to give up the player for 3 A's and a B, right?
Right.
Why would you do that? The player's not going to be with you anyway.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.